Romantic comedies are a beloved genre any time of year, but they've got a particularly strong hold on the holidays. It's a whimsical time of year when everyone's coming together and wondering, why are you still single?
Still no fella then, eh? I don't know.
Few career goals, can't put it off forever, you know. Tick-tock, tick-tock.
It can be grating, to say the least. But cuffing season does also have the habit of getting us daydreaming about what if some unconventional or wacky romance did happen for us, like falling in love with your house share owner's hot brother, or a snowman with so many abs coming to life and asking you to a dance. In recent years, holiday rom-coms have become something of their own industry, pumping out dozens of titles annually, almost exclusively straight to streaming. These movies are generally very formulaic escapism that promises the audience an amusing, if not particularly creative, love story unfolding during the happiest time of year. We see an ambitious city girl travel to a small, incredibly festive town, where she finds a handsome man who will give her the Yuletide spirit she was lacking. This always changes her life for the better, showing that all she needed was a whirlwind romance and lots of Christmas cheer. It's a formula that works very well, captivating viewers looking to unwind by watching something with low stakes, attractive stars, and guaranteed predictable story beats and happy endings. While more creative plots could be refreshing, their core audience doesn't seem to want their comfort movies to change too much. With that being said, even fans have started to notice and comment on how glaring some of the genre's problems still are even today. So let's take a closer look at how holiday rom-coms' longtime dedication to old-fashioned messages about gender roles and lack of representation held the genre back, and how it's finally changing to meet the times, and we're getting even better, more enjoyable rom-coms as a result. Romantic comedies can send some questionable messages about dating, love, and marriage. When it comes to holiday-themed rom-coms, finding a partner becomes a race against time, since many female protagonists want or believe they need a boyfriend or a fiancé or a husband by Christmas, usually to impress or at the very least appease their families. Hence why we see so many stories about pretend relationships. While some of our holiday rom-com heroines pine over finding Mr. Right, some of them are content or even happy being single.
You know, it's a holiday when my sister shows up alone.
Don't rub it in. She's obviously sad.
I'm not sad.
Are you sure? You look really sad.
The usual setup sees the stereotypical high-powered businesswoman, a lawyer, journalist, ad executive, etc., who's burnt out or mistreated at work, often both. She's always busy, which means she has zero extra time for dating or settling down. And in this specific subgenre, she's also usually considered a Christmas-loathing Grinch. When she travels to a small town, usually her hometown, she's judged for her singlehood and questioned about her love life. Even with distractions, like saving a small business from a big corporation or organizing a major Christmas event, she manages to meet an attractive guy with enough Christmas spirit for the both of them. Sometimes they hate each other until they realize they're actually soulmates. Or maybe she rekindles a romance with an ex-boyfriend, or realizes she should have been with her best guy friend all along. Any emptiness, loneliness, or uncertainty she's experiencing is remedied by falling in love, while going all out for Christmas, of course.
That's right, the true reason for Christmas is husband.
This reduces her to a damsel in distress who needs a man to show her how to lighten up and be happy, whether she's trying to follow her dreams or save a local bar. Character growth and development rely on romance, an underlying message that women can only find themselves with the help of a handsome handyman or incognito royal. One of the most common tropes is a woman choosing love over her career ambitions.
It's almost a joke at this point, the trope of the city girl leaving her life of corporate success to marry a man who will relieve her of the burden of ever having to be in charge of her own life.
Sometimes she feels lost, searching for her true self, or questioning what she really wants in life. But she can't figure that out unless she has a man to guide and inspire her to do so. While Netflix is certainly self-aware, The Merry Gentleman debuted in 2024 and still has the trope of a career woman abandoning her dreams for a guy she's known less than a month. Starring Britt Robertson as Ashley Davis, a Broadway dancer who's been a part of a Christmas-themed show called The Jingle Bells for 12 years, whose life is flipped upside down when less than 5 minutes in, we see her get replaced with a younger dancer. While her age is not explicitly stated in the movie, the actress is just 34 years old. For the first time in years, Ashley returns to her hometown of Sycamore Creek for the holidays. Right away, she has a meet-cute with local carpenter Luke, inexplicably getting tangled in Christmas decorations he's hanging outside of her parents' small nightclub, the Rhythm Room, because holiday rom-com heroines are often clumsy or socially awkward in some way to make her a relatable every-girl. While her parents and older sister nudge her in Luke's direction, they're thankfully not nearly as invasive and obnoxious as some rom-com families. Ashley lived in New York for over a decade, working tirelessly for her Broadway dream, and didn't have time or energy to date or settle down. While she and Luke don't exactly go through an enemies to lovers trajectory, they make little jabs at each other's occupations, though it's mainly Luke who repeatedly calls her a diva and a city girl. To save her parents' business, she puts together an all-male Christmas spectacular to draw in customers and raise enough money to cover the rent debt. But she's unexpectedly offered her old job back, along with a raise and a 3-year contract. Although they're sad she'll have to leave on Christmas Eve, her parents recognize the rare, life-changing opportunity. Luke and the other married gentleman take the news hard and leave Ashley feeling guilty.
But if I don't go now, then I'm gonna lose everything that I worked for.
What about everything we worked for?
But especially Luke, who in true rom-com fashion makes it all about him, painting her as a bad person for abandoning him, a guy she's known for a couple of weeks, and the entire town to be what he considers an elitist city girl, to do, her job that she loves.
We're starting to fall for you, Ashley. Thank you for showing me who you really are before I did.
You can guess how this ends. It's no secret that movies of this genre tend to be very focused on heterosexual love and marriage, and traditional masculine and feminine roles. The rugged guy who knows his way around a toolbox, and the uptight professional gal make up a lot of the pairings we see in Hallmark and Hallmark-like movies. A man who stays in his small town is the hero of the story, an honorable guy who knows what really matters. Rural living with an emphasis on community and simplicity. Bonus points if he's a caring single father with a precocious kid, meaning the lucky lady can have an instant nuclear family. Even if she didn't want this specific life, as soon as she meets the right guy, she magically realizes it is what she wanted all along. These movies may be centered on independent, ambitious women with demanding careers at first, but their drive is seen as a hindrance to romance, which is apparently supposed to be what matters most, especially at Christmas. This framing is, of course, at odds with what we know in the real world, that women should be able to follow their dreams, make mistakes, evolve, and change, without having their entire life defined by whether they're in a relationship or not.
Newsflash, women no longer need a male companion to solidify their happiness.
I just want my baby sister to be happy.
I was happy.
Holiday rom-coms aren't exactly known for diversity. Many classics like Love Actually and The Holiday mostly or only feature white characters, even in large casts. Even in recent years, the Hallmark Channel faced backlash for their mostly all-white heterosexual cast and characters across their huge number of holiday films. When asked about why that is, rarely does the company give a straight answer. However, in a 2023 interview with Vulture, Hallmark's executive VP of programming, Lisa Hamilton Daly, explained, "Our movies are about romances. They're not issue-driven movies. Those are not the stories we're telling." If Hallmark movies are supposedly centered on love, community, and kindness, what does it say that diverse characters are largely left out?
I'm Emily Kringle for Hallmark, reminding you to stay straight out there.
This line of thinking is disappointing, not only because it's offensive, but also because not representing marginalized communities sends the message that non-white, non-heteronormative viewers are just stuck with the harshest parts of reality and shouldn't get to see themselves in feel-good escapist movies. Hallmark didn't cast black actors as romantic leads until their 2018 lineup, with A Majestic Christmas, starring Jerrica Hinton, and Memories of Christmas, starring Afro-Latina Christina Milian. However, black actors were already leading their own rom-coms on the big screen in movies like Last Holiday, This Christmas, and The Best Man Holiday, which highlight moments of black joy. Contrary to the belief of many studio execs, stories where the main narrative isn't tied to a character's racial or sexual identities not only can and do exist, but are also enjoyed by audiences across the board. But TV networks and movie studios still miss the mark, often veering into stereotypes. 2020's Happiest Season, directed and co-written by queer actress and filmmaker Clea Duvall, was a big success for Hulu. It follows lesbian couple Harper and Abby as they visit Harper's parents for the first time. But despite the amazing cast that includes queer queer actors such as Kristen Stewart, Aubrey Plaza, and Daniel Levy, viewers still had critiques. Namely that they thought they were going to get a cheesy and fun Christmas rom-com, but instead got a story about being closeted and coming out to one's conservative family. The problem wasn't with the storyline itself. In fact, many found it to be deeply relatable. The issue is more something that crops up in pretty much any rom-com focused on characters who aren't exclusively straight and white. The story always ends up being centered around them suffering, instead of just having a quirky fun time in the way their straight white counterparts are allowed to do. Though the genre as a whole, especially on the streaming side, has had a difficult time stepping out of its stale formula to begin to include new character types and storylines, things have been evolving. Though some studio execs might try to say otherwise, it's been proven over and over again that audiences do enjoy seeing varied and diverse stories on screen. And even Hallmark has found that it can absolutely find success with varied characters and stories even within its formulaic limitations. In November 2020, Hallmark released The Christmas House, its first movie with a same-sex couple in prominent roles, starring queer actor Jonathan Bennett, of Mean Girls fame. Unlike Happiest Seasons, the Mitchell family fully accepts and embraces their son and his husband.
I am so honored and thrilled to be a part of this operation.
Thank you, Jake. Have I told you lately you're my favorite son-in-law?
A month later, Lifetime, one of Hallmark's closest competitors, debuted their first LGBTQ-themed Christmas film, The Christmas Setup, led by real-life couple Ben Lewis and Blake Lee. It had most of the tropes people tune in for: a lawyer returning home for Christmas, a holiday-loving mom meddling in her son's love life, low-stakes conflicts, and a sweet kiss.
I've never seen anything like it. So are you a believer now?
Netflix entered the holiday rom-com game in 2017 with A Christmas Prince, the story of a journalist-turned-princess, and Christmas Inheritance, about a rich party girl who has to prove she's worthy of taking over her father's company. And while these specific movies do fall into the old-school pattern for holiday rom-coms, the platform has since offered a variety of diverse and inclusive narratives to great success. 2018's The Princess Switch stars High School Musical alum Filipino-American Vanessa Hudgens, along with a relatively diverse cast, in a modern take on The Prince and the Pauper. Netflix's first gay Christmas movie, Single All the Way, premiered in 2021, and delivered all the festive schmaltz in a comfortingly familiar plot. A Los Angeles social media strategist named Peter is unhappily single, and convinces his longtime, very attractive best friend Nick, a freelance handyman, to pretend to be his boyfriend at Christmas. Peter's family lovingly support him and show no signs of bigotry. In fact, they're rooting for the couple. Naturally, the two friends end up becoming much more than friends in the end, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Holiday rom-coms are meant to champion love and connection, while also delivering heartwarming, sometimes hilarious stories. They provide a comfortable, feel-good distraction from the stressful reality we live in, allowing us to turn off our brains and enjoy a fantasy. Escapist entertainment shouldn't be exclusive. Everyone deserves to see themselves represented on screen, even in the most shamelessly sentimental movies.
Love Actually has a reputation as a feel-good classic, a holiday season staple that's as hilarious as it is heartwarming.
Now here's one for the lovers.
The 2003 film boasts a star-studded international cast, acting in a loosely connected collection of vignettes about how love is all around us in its many different and wondrous forms.
Seems to me that love is everywhere.
But if we look closer, we can see that many of its ideas about love are, well, kind of messed up, even by romantic comedy standards.
I'm on Shack Highway, heading west.
From infidelity to objectification to borderline stalking, Love Actually's version of love, actually, it's pretty unhealthy and not exactly something anyone should emulate. Here are some of the film's most toxic takeaways and what we can and shouldn't learn from them.
Yes, thank you. We're very happy.
Toxic takeaway number 1. Limerence is the same as love.
She's the coolest girl in school, and everyone worships her because she's heaven.
Romantic comedies are often in love with the idea of the one, the perfect predestined soulmate who will make our lives complete. But most romantic comedies aren't about love, they're about limerence, a state of infatuation or obsession with somebody that you'd like to have a relationship with.
Invite him out for a drink, and then after about 20 minutes, casually drop into the conversation the fact that you'd like to marry him and have lots of sex and babies.
You know that?
Yes.
Limerence can develop into genuine love, but it's defined largely by those affections being unrequited, which often leads to unhealthy fixations that are only intensified by their being unreciprocated.
She's not my girl. And she's going back to America. That's the end of my life as I know it.
Love Actually offers us several examples of limerence, and they all stem from male characters who idealize their dream girl to the point of her being a total fantasy, and occasionally regardless of her own wishes.
You've stayed rather close, haven't you?
As Holly Williams wrote for The Independent, the film treats women like pawns in a male fantasy. One of the most famous and obvious examples is Mark's pursuit of Juliet, the wife of his best friend Peter. Mark loves Juliet from afar, intentionally keeping her at a distance to the point where she's convinced Mark doesn't even like her.
You never talk to me. You don't like me.
Juliet remains an object of idealized limerence to Mark, who reveals his fixation through the creepily obsessive footage he films at her wedding.
They're all of me.
A video that literally cuts out everything but his own narrow view of her.
Don't show it around too much. It needs a bit of editing.
Meanwhile, Mark's sole conversations with Juliet are cold and distant, until at last he shows up at her house uninvited to confess his love.
Oh, hi.
Again, without ever actually talking to her. Even the actor who played Mark, Andrew Lincoln, has said he questioned this behavior with Love Actually director Richard Curtis, telling Vanity Fair, "I kept saying to Richard, are you sure I'm not going to come off as a creepy stalker?"
It's a self-preservation thing, you see.
And he's far from the only one to suggest it. In a study on media portrayals of persistent pursuit, psychologist Dr. Julia Lippman found that romantic movies where these kinds of behaviors are portrayed as part of a regular courtship could lead to an increase in stalking supportive beliefs.
I watched him play with his son at the beach.
Did you talk to him?
Couldn't do it.
And while Juliet and Mark don't end up together, we still see Mark being rewarded for his persistence. Mark's inability to move past his limerence, even after Juliet is happily married, is troubling in itself, but it's even more disturbing how Love Actually normalizes his obsessive behavior, even turning it into an iconic romantic gesture. We see an even more egregious example of limerence, not love, in the story of Colin Firth's Jamie, who becomes infatuated with his Portuguese housekeeper, Aurelia.
Je suis très heureux de vous avoir ici.
Unfortunately, she cannot speak French, just like you.
Since they don't speak the same language, Aurelia is little more than a blank canvas for Jamie to project his fantasies onto. He's unable to understand Aurelia or get to know her in any meaningful way beyond a superficial attraction. The film does portray their growing feelings for each other as mutual.
It's my favorite time of day. Driving you.
É parte mais triste do meu dia, deixá-lo.
Yet it's an unlikely, if not impossible, romance based solely in longing looks. They fall in love with versions of each other that they've largely invented. Sam's crush on his classmate Joanna can at least be excused by his age.
Aren't you a bit young to be in love?
Many psychologists have noted the connection between limerence and the absence of love from our primary caregivers in childhood. And in Sam's case, this would be understandable, seeing as he's just lost his mom, who in a blatantly Freudian twist is also named Joanna.
And her name's Joanna.
Yeah, I know. Same as Mum.
Sam idealizes Joanna to the point where he creates a fantasy version of himself just to get her attention.
Girls love musicians, don't they?
Uh-huh.
And I thought maybe if I was in the band and played absolutely superbly, there's a chance that she might actually fall in love with me.
And Sam knows little about Joanna, except that she's a singer, and he admits that she barely knows him, yet he still claims she's the one.
There isn't just one person for each of us.
There was for you. There is for me. She's the one.
In Love Actually, it's never too early to develop unhealthy ideas about romance. Of course, the film doesn't just put women on a pedestal, it also turns them into lust objects. This is most evident in its story about Colin, whose failure to woo women does not prompt some intense self-examination of his many faults.
I've just worked out why I can never find true love.
What's that?
English girls. They're stuck up, you see. And I am primarily attractive to girls who are, you know, cooler, game for a laugh.
Rather, it inspires Colin to head to Wisconsin to find girls who might be attracted to his accent.
Any bar, anywhere in America, contains 10 girls more beautiful and more likely to have sex with me than the whole of the United Kingdom.
Incredibly, Love Actually rewards his fantasy as well. Almost immediately, Colin meets several women who appear to be down for exactly that.
Wait until Carol Ann gets here. She's crazy about English guys.
It's a storyline that borders on pornography and one that says a lot about how Love Actually views women itself.
Hello, you must be Tony. I heard you were gorgeous.
Toxic takeaway number 2. Falling for your boss is romantic.
Any chance of a dance with the boss?
Love Actually suggests that not only will we eventually meet the one, there's a pretty good chance it'll be at the office. The film gives us several workplace romances, many of them between employer and employee, and quite a few of them involving older men lusting after a younger woman.
Watch out, he keeps his hands off you. 20 years ago, you'd have been just his type. No, seriously.
They're love stories that, as any HR department will tell you, are professionally inappropriate. And in a Me Too age especially, they feel even more like workplace sexual harassment. The romance between Jamie and Aurelia isn't just between a man and his fantasy, it's one between a boss and employee, and again, one who's considerably younger.
She's 10 years too young to remember there was a footballer called Eusebio.
Beyond their age difference, Aurelia is in a uniquely vulnerable position. Not only can she not communicate with Jamie, she's literally there to serve him, leaving him with complete control over her.
Eu tenho que ir trabalhar. É melhor. Talvez mais tarde dê boleia.
Sure.
The married Harry likewise lusts after his own employee, Mia.
You're looking very pretty tonight.
It's for you. It's all for you.
Mia is new to the office, and Harry is her direct supervisor, meaning their affair could have dramatic consequences for both of them.
How are you doing, Mia? Are you settling in fine, learning who to avoid?
Yet the film suggests that this is largely a problem for Harry. It sets up Mia as a femme fatale.
Full of dark corners, full. Doing dark deeds.
Whose sexy outfits and flirtations pose a threatening temptation.
I'll just be hanging around the mistletoe, hoping to be kissed.
She's made out to be a seductive villain who leads the decent man astray.
When it comes to me, you can have everything.
This imbalance is perhaps most evident in the story of the Prime Minister, David, who actually fires his staff member, Natalie, solely because he's attracted to her, and after deciding that his own lust is too much of a distraction.
I'm sure she's a lovely girl, but I wonder if you could, redistribute.
David is contrasted against the more obviously lecherous American president.
Goodness, it's a pretty little son of a bitch right there. Did you see those pipes?
So we're meant to see David as charming, and his implicit defense of Natalie as chivalrous.
A relationship based on the president taking exactly what he wants and casually ignoring all those things that really matter to, Britain.
Yet he doesn't actually address the president's harassment directly, and in fact, he ends up punishing her. Natalie even feels compelled to apologize.
Look, I'm so sorry about that day. I mean, I came into the room and he synced towards me and there was a fire and he's the president of the United States and nothing happened, I promise.
There is obvious romantic tension between the two.
I'm actually yours, with love. You're Natalie.
Still, there's no question that the power dynamic between Natalie and David is irrevocably skewed, and he's willing to abuse it whenever it suits him.
That is so inconvenient.
Toxic takeaway number 3, repress your true feelings. The characters in Love Actually are connected through bloodlines and friendships, jobs, and pure circumstance.
Does Natalie live here?
No. She lives next door.
But the thing that most unites them is their complete inability to communicate. Again, Jamie and Aurelia have a clear language barrier, but at least Jamie tries learning Portuguese.
Isto é peixe enorme. Eu gosto muito.
Of course, this doesn't make his reasoning for loving her any clearer or more articulate.
Eu sei que ser louco, porque mal te conheço, mas às vezes as coisas são muito claras para mim. Não preciso de prova.
Still, however misguided, at least Jamie is open with Aurelia. There's an even more insurmountable lack of communication between the couples who can understand each other. Sam spends his time pining after Joanna and even learning the drums rather than just telling her how he feels.
Tell her that you love her.
No way.
And it goes without saying that Mark, Juliet, and Peter might have all been better off if Mark had just been honest about his affections sooner, rather than playing mind games with Juliet or letting his cue cards do the talking. This emotional repression isn't limited to the film's romances. Mark, after all, isn't exactly open with his friend Peter.
I know you're Peter's best friend. And I know you've never particularly warmed to me. But I just wanted to say I hope that can change.
Likewise, the friendship between aging pop star Billy Mack and his longtime manager Joe is marked by Billy's open disrespect, even contempt.
And I'll be stuck in some dingy flat with my manager Joe, ugliest man in the world.
When Billy eventually does find himself able to confess what Joe means to him, he masks it behind more churlish aggression.
I've gone and spent most of my adult life with a chubby employee. It might be that the people I love is, in fact, you.
And he immediately covers up his emotions with more macho posturing.
Let's get pissed and watch porn.
In Love Actually, even Daniel grieving his wife is frowned upon.
Get a grip. People hate sissies. No one's ever going to shag you if you cry all the time.
Maybe some of this can be chalked up to these characters being British. The English are not exactly known for being open with their emotions, after all. But they all have a troubling aversion to vulnerability, even with the characters they supposedly want to share their lives with. Sarah can admit she wants marriage and babies with Carl, but she can't even be open with him about her own life. Just as the two are on the verge of acting on their attraction, they're interrupted by a call from her mentally ill brother, a situation that Sarah downplays to Carl, seemingly for fear of spoiling the fantasy.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it's not really fine. It is what it is. And sort of there being no parents now and us being over here, it's my job to keep an eye on him. I mean, not my job. Obviously, I'm glad to do it.
Her reluctance to tell him the truth suggests she doesn't really trust him, and Carl's reaction suggests he's not really interested in talking about it anyway.
Don't answer.
Meanwhile, Harry's dalliance with Mia can be chalked up to his inability to communicate directly, not only with her, but with his wife.
Explain to me again why you're so late.
Oh, for heaven's sake, woman. Can't a man have any secrets?
Their marriage seems to have reached a rather cold impasse, and it's clear that they've grown distant.
My expectations are not that high after 13 years of Mr. Oh, but you always love scarves.
Yet rather than talk about their problems, they hide them behind a mask of passive-aggressive digs and deflections.
Mia's very pretty.
Is she?
You know she is, darling. Be careful there.
Even after Karen discovers Harry's betrayal with Mia, she intentionally hides her pain. Right up to the end, they can't seem to be direct with each other.
Would you stay? Knowing life would always be a little bit worse.
And we're left to wonder what each of them is really feeling, and suspect that neither will ever really know as well.
Are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Toxic takeaway number 4. Love is about grand romantic gestures.
It's okay, we'll go to the airport. I know a shortcut.
Instead of just talking to each other, most of the couples in the film communicate through the romantic comedy staple of the grand romantic gesture.
You know the thing about romance is people only get together right at the very end.
These showy public declarations are the logical culmination of a film that mistakes limerence for love, disregards communication and respect, and always puts the men in control. Thus, we have spectacles like Jamie flying to Portugal, gathering a crowd, then bringing them with him to Aurelia's job to propose.
Bonita Aurelia, devo vir aqui para te pedir para casar comigo.
Or David tracking down Natalie, knocking on random doors until he finds her, then sharing a first kiss that's literally on stage. The film suggests that regardless of the actual relationship you may have with someone, you can will love into being by simply declaring it loudly and ostentatiously enough.
You've seen the films, kiddo. It ain't over till it's over.
These moments certainly seem romantic, but they're missing the one thing that makes true love possible, and that the film is largely lacking: intimacy. Love Actually's romances take place in front of audiences, in crowded airports, or from behind the protective veil of cue cards. Love may be everywhere, like the film says, but it only truly develops between two people away from everyone and everything else, nurtured and earned in a way that no big romantic gesture could ever replace. Despite all these toxic takeaways, there are some true love stories in Love Actually. For all their friction, Billy Mack and Joe do share a genuine bond.
It's been an honor. I feel very proud.
Perhaps its most touching relationship is the one that develops between Daniel and Sam as stepfather and stepson. And if you accept the 2017 charity special Red Nose Actually as canon, Jamie and Aurelia, David and Natalie, and Sam and Joanna are all still very much in love. And Mark has moved on to another fantasy object. As screenwriter Emma Freud suggested on Twitter, even Harry and Karen have probably stayed together, if only by further quashing their feelings. Ultimately, Love Actually is a film that's all about the sentiments and sensations of love, rather than the truths. And of course, that doesn't detract from how it makes us feel inside, or how it makes us laugh.
There was more than one lobster present at the birth of Jesus.
Duh.
Like any other holiday treat, there's nothing wrong with indulging in it, so long as we recognize that Love Actually is only about love superficially. That's The Take. Click here to watch a video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.